Welcome to the Bev Boys. I'm Brian.
I'm Christian.
God damn it, I fucked it. I'm sorry.
I can do it if you want.
You want to?
Sure.
You ready? All right.
Welcome to Bev Boys, your one-stop shop for all your energy drink needs. I'm Christian.
I'm Brian.
And today, we're going to be taking a trip back in the time machine. The OG Monster Low Carb. Monster Energy, baby. Let's go.
So we'll be reviewing it based off of a couple different categories. Obviously, we have the price. We have the can itself. What does it kind of look like? What's bringing onto it? And how do you really look carrying the can, sipping it, going through it? The ingredients as well. We'll go through the full ingredient label and that entire nutrition panel. And then obviously the taste. And then the total score is going to be weighed comparatively with all four of those things. So just kind of going into it right away. This is like an OG. It's trip down memory lane. I feel like everybody kind of starts off either doing like one of the big three: Monster, Red Bull,
or Rockstar.
Yeah, Rockstar.
Classics.
All those classics that were originally in, sponsoring like X Games and stuff like that.
Your favorite NASCAR driver.
Yeah, and no one was short of their own controversy. We've all known Monster with their 3 stripes or their 3 claw marks. That was like a big thing. There's probably countless videos of like the kind of crazy lady going on and on about the satanic worship. It doesn't mean it's not a good drink though. And without controversy, you can't really get big. So we might get controversial here. Just going into the can, 16-ounce can, super simple, black, kind of gloss finish on there. Changes from the original logo, obviously, with
from the green to the blue. Yep.
Although I have seen the low carb now switch to a green colorway a couple of times.
I have seen that once in a while, like a low carb or the zero sugar, whatever they call it. Maybe it's a little bit different, but
instead of it being like that kind of like older style, which we have here, which is that blue can with the blue tab, it goes back to like that OG kind of green with the black. Overall, I mean, the can's not gonna blow your pants off and knock your hair back, but it is simple. People know it when they see it, so you have brand recognition. That's one of those big ones. And you don't look like the weird dude in the gym with the 90 different colors rocking on his can, going out of his mind, cracked out.
That's true.
Price-wise, with it being Monster, I believe like you can pick these up for about $2.39. That's usually kind of the price tag on them. Whether you're in a gas station, you might add 10, 20 cents onto it. But most of the time, you're gonna be able to pick this up for pretty cheap. So it's not a terrible cost when it comes to it. You do get like I said, the 16-ounce can, which we'll get into the actual ingredients here. So Christian, I don't know if you want to take it away on the ingredients.
Yeah, so it's gonna have your kind of classic energy drink blend. Obviously, this was probably one of the first ones to have low to no sugar. Obviously, the OG Monster and Red Bull, pretty similar profile with the stimulants, but a lot of sugar. So low carb, as it indicates, 30 calories on the label. Obviously, no fat. It does have a little bit of sodium, 380 milligrams. Could be good or bad depending on what situation you're in, what your goals are. Coming in at 9 carbohydrates, a little bit higher than I would have expected, just because we're used to, a lot of these energy drinks nowadays are like 3 carbs or even 0, but it does say low carb. That is still pretty low, less than 10 grams. 6 grams of sugar, so it is not a sugar-free drink, which it doesn't claim to be, so that's good. 6 grams of added sugar, so a little bit of sugar, but it's still fairly low calorie, 30 calories. Got your classic blend of B vitamins, B2, B3, B6, and B12, 500% of your B12, 200+% of all your other B vitamins. Obviously, can't really overdose on those, but unfortunately, you're probably pissing most of that out. It does help the energy matrix just a little bit. And then, obviously, the main things on the label are going to be this L-carnitine, OG, taurine as well, and then the B vitamins. But going into the actual label, obviously, carbonated water, glucose, aka just sugar, some citric acid, pretty standard, natural flavors, whatever that is, taurine, sodium nitrate, bunch of other random stuff, caffeine halfway down the label. Again, it's coming in about 140 milligrams per can. So kind of middle of the road as far as dosages go. I see some with around 100, upwards of like 300 milligrams. This is kind of your OG middle of the road. A lot of them were around this kind of dosage, I feel like, when they first started getting popular. But yeah, I feel like most energy drinks today can kind of go off of the original like Monster or Red Bull like blends. A lot of them are going to have B vitamins, obviously, caffeine is going to be the main one that's going to give you that energy, but then taurine is pretty standard as well as L-carnitine. So 140 milligrams, depending on who you are and kind of what your sensitivity to caffeine, that's going to be a pretty decent dose for most people. Some people might want a little bit more. Some people that might be a little much for them. So,
you know, next to the ingredient label, obviously, like we just gone through with a lot of the B vitamins, those are going to be packed in there. Like Christian said, you're going to piss most of them out. That's like a big thing. So it's added in there. They usually use them a lot for like flavoring a lot of times too. But with that, like, you know, they do like to give you a little bit on there. So there's like a little bit of a write-up on the back of the can. We did miss that a little bit earlier, but I'll just read it for a second here. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, low-carb Monster Energy. Low calories, no compromise. That's what low-carb Monster Energy is all about. Really like hammering home the low carb. Get the big monster buzz you know and love, but with a fraction of the calories and carbohydrates. Athletes, musicians, anarchists, I believe this says co-eds, a little scratched up on there. Road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers, dig it, you will too, unleash the beast, right? So that kind of tells you like who's really drinking this. I don't know many athletes who are regularly hitting this outside of like those like extreme sports. Maybe you'll see it with like a lot of their sponsorships, like I said, with like the X Games. You'll see skateboarders who are also, you know, Red Bull, Monster, Rockstar. That's kind of like who they're gonna probably market towards. Musicians do it a lot. I've seen these on stage plenty of times. Don't know about too many hipsters, but I've definitely seen a lot of people doing this either as like a road warrior, you know, traveling. You're like, I just need a quick pick me up. It's 3 a.m. I got to get through this drive.
truckers
For sure. So it's, it is blue. It's the blue collar energy drink. That's kind of Monster's
construction
thing.
workers,
Construction
for sure.
workers. Obviously gamers. Like we've all seen that person who's got 15 of these cans crushed up, just scattered around some kind of like computer, and they're hammering away with Cheeto dust on their fingers.
A couple pizza boxes.
Yeah, half-eaten slices, some crumbs everywhere.
Yep.
So it's kind of like who they've, you know, we kind of see as maybe not necessarily their target market of who they're marketing to, but who it's like been accepted by and kind of used by. But that's not to say that it isn't something quality, especially for the price that you get. There is one thing that we all love about a good can, right? If the carbonation's good, not too carbonated, not too bad, but obviously you can really tell what a can does when you open it up. So if I do open it here, let me get nice and close to the mic.
Let's pop that top.
That's a pretty satisfying.
That's not bad. Little two-parter there. You know, I'm not bad at it. Not bad at it. You can definitely tell it's not flat. Looking at some of the residue that comes out the top here.
Yeah.
It's got that original energy drink color. Now, obviously, yes. It essentially looks like carbonated urine. So, obviously, it's in the black can, so you can't tell. But if you get a little bit around the rim, or, fancy like us, we're going to drink it out of a cup. Oh, yeah, look at that color.
So,
yeah, that is really like dehydrated urine. Here we go.
We've all been there before, where you're on a camping trip or you're driving out, you can't stop, you just got to grab a can or you got to grab a bottle. That's kind of what it looks like, to be honest.
Honestly, this is a sample right here.
It's kind of where it is. Smell-wise, it definitely has the original kind of battery acid kind of smell to it.
Can only describe it as energy drink smell. Like if there had to be one smell attributed to energy drinks, it's got to be this. It's because this, the original Monster, the OG Red Bull, Rockstar, they all had like this very similar taste, which is kind of interesting, honestly.
It's not quite lemon lime. It's not a cola.
Yeah, it's somewhat like citrusy, I would say.
I think
a little bit of like, I don't even know.
I think it's that citric acid. You're gonna get that like super acidic, almost kind of like
a little bite to it.
A little bite when you eat too much candy, and you're gonna get that little bit of like rawness on your tongue. Like that's what it smells like. But it does bring me home.
Yes, so definitely good memes. Without further ado, here we go.
Lighter carbonation than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Like the pop of the top, I was like, this is gonna be like snap.
Yeah. I'm not super mad at it though.
No.
I don't want too much. It's not so much that like sometimes they have too much and you can hardly take. You have to take super small sips. Others are too little. It's like you can gas it like a freaking bottle of water. This is kind of more towards the middle. I'd say maybe a little bit towards the lower end. Definitely not mad at it. As far as the taste, it's been a while since I've had kind of one of these original energy drinks like a Monster or a Red Bull. I will say, you know, when you have like the sugar-free Red Bull or like the sugar-free original Monster, this is a little bit sweeter just because it does have a little bit of sugar. Obviously, it's still that low carb, but I do think that improves the flavor. It's really interesting how much, you know, if you're used to drinking that sugar-free energy drink, whatever it is of your choice, how much like the sugar is really that much of a difference when it comes to the flavor.
It definitely, I think a lot of times when you use the artificial sweeteners just to cut down on the calories of the can, they tend to get sometimes they'll get like that metallic, like aluminum can aftertaste.
Yeah.
There's not like a ton of it in here, so I can, like, it definitely makes it a little bit more of an enjoyable experience, more so than just like, well, I'm gonna pound and I'm gonna taste, you know, grape or fruit punch, and then I'm gonna taste the copper can or the aluminum can, whatever it might be. So, you know, it doesn't, there is that little bit of like spicy, like
Yep.
in it, that like, but you can feel it. Like, if you were to like chug this, you're probably gonna get a little bit of throat burn, just like you would like a Sprite or something like that,
Yep.
like extra fizziness. But like, it's definitely possible. It brings me back, I'll say that. Like, I feel like I said earlier on, you know, everybody kind of starts with like a Monster or a Red Bull or like a Rockstar. Like, I started with Monster, so like this was one of those ones because I didn't want to be a fat kid. Like, I was already like eating a little bit too many sweets once in a while, so I was like, I cut down there, and I
Yep.
found this. Like, if I was going through it and I go taste wise, the can, the ingredients, obviously, and then the price. Like, the price is a huge elevation on this, just it being around $2 versus, you know, a $3 price tag or anything like that. You know, it's really middle of the road on the ingredients. It's not going to pop off way one end of the spectrum. And the can is really simple, but it's not like super flashy. It's not super great, not super bad. It's very middle of the road, kind of across like all aspects. It could be a great daily driver. Like, if I were to rate this and I'm going through it, like, I'm gonna give it around like a 6.8.
Yeah, I'm definitely similar there. As far as like taste, obviously everyone's got a little bit different, you know, what they like, what they don't like. Once in a while, I would like one of these. Couldn't really see myself personally wanting to hit these every single day. I don't know, it's just something about that original energy drink taste. I think there's better options as far as what my palate is accustomed to. But yeah, I'd probably give it around like a 6.2 for me. Nothing crazy, obviously. Pretty cheap for an energy drink. Some of them are going for, you know, north of $3 now. And obviously ingredients, but you do kind of have to give homage, as this was kind of probably one of the base drinks that, you know, all the new brands that are coming out in the past few years have kind of built their formulas around of and then improved on them with like some of the more, you know, nootropics are getting a lot more popular in energy drinks nowadays. So 6.2, definitely not the worst energy drink I've had, but
Definitely not the best.
definitely not the best.
Yeah.
So, but you got to pay homage for sure. OG.
So yeah, without further ado, this is our review on the low carb Monster Energy. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.